Let's have a quick conversation about HTTPS. I want to explain to you what it is, how it works, and how to really use it to your advantage this year. Because there's a lot of confusion when it comes to this concept, okay? So let's first define what HTTPS really is. So if you think about HTTPS, I want you to think about Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So this is basically an encrypted version of HTTP because before you had HTTPS, there was HTTP, but HTTPS is more secured. It's actually the cipher version of HTTP. So HTTP actually is the protocol used to transfer data between web browsers like Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, okay, and servers, computers that actually host websites. So that's really what it is. So you have a transfer of data between a web browser, and a server. So when you visit a website that uses HTTPS, the connection between your browser and the website server is actually encrypted, meaning what? It is scrambled for security reasons, for data privacy reasons, for data preservation reasons. So it is encrypted. So this whole process actually protects your data from being spied on by attackers. And the good Lord knows that there are a lot of attackers on the internet. Okay, and so the data includes all types of communication, confidential information. I'm speaking about login credentials, payment information, as well as browsing activity in general. So in other words, the HTTPS protocol is actually quintessential, is actually fundamental for keeping your data private and secure when serving the web. Okay, so it's important to understand that the focus here is on security, the focus is on safety, but most importantly, the focus is on encryption. So the data is scrambled, the data is really secure, the data is really like, again, when I speak about data, I'm speaking about all kinds of data, especially if you have a public facing website, if you have an e-commerce store, if you have a company website and you are getting credit card details from customers, you want to really have HTTPS. So let me talk to you about how HTTPS really work. I've already established the fact that you have safety, you have security. So HTTPS works on a request response model, right? So you have request and then response. That's what I call the RE model or the double R model. Meaning what? Meaning the browser sends a request and the server responds to that request. So the browser, your Safari, your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge, basically your Mozilla, right, sends a request and receives actually a response from the server, just like an HTTP. Okay, so but HTTPS uses a secure sockets layer (SSL) and transport layer security (TLS) certificate for encryption. So I've already covered those two terms in another video. Okay, basically, these are digital documents that prove the identity of a website, so an encrypted connection can be established. Let me explain to you how this entire process works step by step so you have a clear idea what happens, when, and why it happens. So the browser contacts the website. So the user's web browser attempts to connect to a website using HTTPS. Then you have the SSL certificates that's been sent. So the website server responds by sending its SLS, TLS certificate to the browser. And this certificate contains the website's public key, which is the encryption key, and is used to establish a secure connection. Then the browser verifies the certificate. So the browser checks the certificate to ensure it is actually valid and also is issued by a trusted certificate authority like GoDaddy, DigiCert, Komodo, etc. And this step is crucial for confirming a website's authenticity. So we are speaking about validation, right? You can have all kinds of validation, organization validation (OV). It can be entity validation (EV) or something else. Then there is an encryption key exchange. So what happens here is that the browser and the server establish an encrypted connection by exchanging keys once the certificate is verified, and the browser uses the server's public key to encrypt information, which can only be decrypted by the private key. In other words, the decryption key that the server holds. And there is an encrypted data transfer. So all data transferred between the browser and the server is encrypted after the secure connection is established, which ensures it cannot be read by anyone intercepting the data. If someone were to intercept the data, they'll just be reading gibberish, okay? Then you have data decryption and display. So the server decrypts the received data using the private key, processes it, and sends back the requested information. And this data is also encrypted. The browser then decrypts the incoming data and displays the website content to the user. Now, everything I just told you happens so fast, you would think that it's just instantaneous, but there's a lot going on in the background. Now, let me talk to you about HTTP versus HTTPS. I've already established that security is a quintessential element when it comes to HTTP versus HTTPS, but there's a lot more than that, okay? I really want to go into the details so you have a clear idea what happens, what is the difference between the two concepts, okay? So HTTP works differently from HTTPS on several different levels, not just in terms of security. So I want to talk to you about some of those levels so you have a clear idea what I'm really talking about. First of all, you have the encryption. So, and then you have the ports. Then you have the URL format. And then you have the SSL/TLS certificate. Let me first talk to you about encryption. I think by now you understand how encryption works, right? HTTP transfers data as plain text. This means anyone can easily intercept and read it. If you have a lot of bad actors online, and a lot of people are just a lot of actors with sneaky intentions are going to really have software to actually, spy on your communication. So HTTPS, on the other hand, leverages encryption to shield the data, so the information remains unintelligible and secure, even if it's intercepted. This means hackers will only see a scrambled sequence of characters instead of the actual information. So scrambled sequence gibberish. Think about it. So when it comes to encryption, this is actually the main distinguishing factor between HTTP and HTTPS. Next, you have ports. So ports are like virtual doors. Information travels through between a browser and a web server, and each port is assigned a number. So both HTTP and HTTPS use standard ports to facilitate communication. So HTTP typically uses port 80 as its default. This was established early in the development of the web for sending and receiving content. So this was about 25 to 30 years ago. So HTTP uses 80, and HTTPS uses port 443, which is reserved for encrypted traffic. So if you were to compare and contrast the HTTPS and HTTP, another element that will really also distinguish the two is the URL format, okay? Now, when it comes to URL format, you might be thinking, well, it's only the S at the end, but not just the end, not just the S. You also have the padlock, right? There is a padlock or safety sort of a symbol that's actually on the address bar, okay? So a uniform resource locator serves as the address for locating resources on the internet. So URL is the uniform resource locator. So that's www.blablabla.com. That's a URL, okay? So when it comes to HTTP, you have www.blablabla.com, right? But the URL is formatted slightly differently for HTTPS. So for HTTPS, it will start with the HTTPS, okay, //www.blablabla.com. And this automatically indicates a secure connection. You have this a lot for banks, for e-commerce stores, for any company that really wants to assure the public that it has taken great great pain to secure the data communicated to its platform. Okay, so HTTP URL starts without the S. So the missing S signifies the absence of security. What about SSL TLS certificate? Well, keep in mind what I said earlier about how an SSL TLS certificate is a digital document that proves a website's identity and authenticity, right? So this added level of verification is only used in HTTPS communication, not in traditional communication. So we have this a lot when it comes to HTTPS. I mean, when you have the SSL or TLS certificate, you usually have the padlock that I spoke to you about a little earlier. So that padlock signifies that you have a website that has a higher level of security. Let me talk to you about the advantages of HTTPS. Now, you can think about it, but it's just always better to insist on it and to clarify it for everybody. So the first advantage here is you have enhanced data privacy. So HTTPS protects users' privacy. So there is sensitive information such as credit card numbers or login details remain confidential and inaccessible to hackers, right? I mean, right now the internet is the wild, wild west. A lot of stuff happen. You have a lot of bad actors. I mean, this is not about saying, you know what, I'm in a niche that is so quote unquote pure and nothing will happen to me. No, no, you have a lot of bad actors in every niche on the internet. Okay, so HTTPS really protects your users' privacy. Now, if you were to compare that to HTTP, there's a big difference because with HTTP, the data is sent in clear text and can be easily intercepted, which leaves users' privacy at risk. They are vulnerable to attacks like man in the middle, packet sniffing, and session hijacking. So the encryption used in HTTPS connections prevents these attacks by fully securing data that flows between a browser and a website server. Right? I've already established that, but it's not just in one transaction; it's in multiple transactions, 24/7, 365. In other words, the security is there on a permanent basis. So that's for enhanced data privacy. You also have enhanced user experience. So what happens here is that HTTPS positively impacts the user experience, the UX, because it fosters a sense of trust in users when they are browsing, shopping, or sharing information online. You want to really add an extra layer of security, of accountability, and also trustworthiness. You want to insert that layer in let's say in your website navigation process. Okay, what happens here is that users are becoming increasingly aware that they should look for the padlock symbol to confirm whether a website is safe or not. This means that websites using HTTPS could be more likely to retain visitors, reduce their bounce rates, and potentially increase conversion rates as users feel more comfortable making transactions. Users feel more comfortable spending money. Users feel more comfortable actually sharing their data with the site. So that's really important this year. Another advantage of HTTPS is that you have better SEO rankings. Okay, HTTPS can boost your website's ranking and visibility on search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo Search. Why? Because Google, Bing, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo Search actually use HTTPS as a ranking signal. This means websites that use HTTPS are more likely to appear higher on search engine results pages, the SERPs, attracting more organic traffic and potential customers. And that's what you want anyway. If you are serious about ranking your websites, if you are serious about elevating the profile of your website in terms of traffic, you want to invest in HTTPS. If you are serious about SEO, check your website for HTTPS issues, which are common among sites that have recently migrated from HTTP to HTTPS. Now, these issues include internal links, internal links, mixed content issues where other resources on a web page, such as images and CSS files, are being served over HTTP, and also a mismatch between the name your SSL TLS certificate is registered under and the name displayed in the browser's address bar. That's important. So the internal links, by the way, are links on your pages that point to other pages on your site. So those links, those internal links that actually haven't been updated to HTTPS after migration, you want to really pay attention big time to that, so that you don't have the kind of issue that you could have that could really will derail your SEO. And you can check your sites for all these issues using a site audit tool on platforms such as SEMrush or Mouse Pro, okay, or Ahrefs. So basically, you just need to open whatever tool you have. You want to enter the website URL and click Start Audit, and the tool will prompt you to set up a project. After everything is configured, it will start auditing your site. Once the audit is complete, go to the HTTPS section, okay, and click View Details button. You'll see how your site is doing across multiple HTTPS related issues. So that's really good. Another advantage of HTTPS is actually compatibility with browsers. Major browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and Safari have supported HTTPS encryption and the key security protocols involved for many years now. So there is no need to worry about your website visitors not being able to access an HTTPS site unless they are using extremely outdated software, which virtually no one does. Let me give you a few extras here. If you're thinking about HTTPS, there is something else you need to know, okay? So what I want to say here is that HTTPS is definitely better than HTTP. If you listen to me, if you can do the migration, please do so, because the S within the S at the end of HTTP is important for security reasons, but also for encryption, for data privacy, for SEO, for user experience, for a lot of things. Okay, I just finished explaining to you the advantages of HTTPS over HTTP. So HTTPS remains far superior to regular unencrypted HTTP. And so the connections the HTTPS connections are encrypted through SSL and TLS certificates. Okay, that's kind of cool because you are able to take action to make sure that your visitors' data are being protected. Okay, and you can use SEO tools, SEO checkers to actually make sure that your website is actually HTTPS compatible. Once you have paid for the installation of a TLS SSL certificate, okay, and you have to get this through a domain, let's say a certificate authority, a CA, such as DigiSearch, I mean, you have a lot of them. You have DigiSearch, you have GoDaddy, and so on and so forth. Okay, and you want to have that, and don't forget that basically HTTPS uses a different port. It's port 443. It's not the same port as port 80 that you have for HTTP. So in conclusion to this conversation, I explained to you how does HTTPS work. Okay, I give you the definition. I explained the process. I did a quick compare and contrast between HTTP and HTTPS. I spoke about the advantages of HTTPS and finally the extras. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.